In this lesson, we'll review a social science reading passage question. And again, there's always one social science passage on the SAT and PSAT out of the 5, and it involves people's behavior or some type of societal trends. And it's an informative passage. Usually it's not biased, it's just giving information. And so here it's adapted from John Bohannon, Why You Shouldn't Trust Internet Comments, and it was published in 2013 by the American Association for the Advancement of Science. I'm just going to read the first couple of paragraphs. I know you may have not read this passage, but we're just going to answer one question, and you'll see after just reading the first couple of paragraphs we can do that. The wisdom of crowds has become a mantra of the internet age. Need to choose a new vacuum cleaner, check out the reviews on online merchant Amazon, but a new study reveals that such online scores don't always reveal the best choice. A massive controlled experiment of web users find that such ratings are highly susceptible to irrational herd behavior, and that herd can be manipulated. Sometimes the crowd really is wiser than you. The classic examples are guessing the weight of a bull or the number of gumballs in a jar. Your guess is probably going to be far from the mark, whereas the average of many people's choices is remarkably close to the true number. And so right away, these first couple of paragraphs, here it's talking about that reviews like on Amazon don't always reveal the best choice, and it shows that there's a large experiment that people are highly susceptible. But then it kind of contrasts it. It says sometimes the crowd is really wiser than you. Examples are guessing the weight of a bull or the number of gumballs in a jar. Even though your individual choice might be far from the mark, they're saying the crowd is probably pretty accurate. And so let's take a look at this question, and you'll see why I focused on those first couple of paragraphs. There's also a graph here, but we'll just go to number 33. The author of the passage suggests that crowds may be more effective. And again, sometimes you may not know where to find the evidence for the choice, but I've talked about in other videos about keywords. Now, they're not going to paraphrase the crowd may be more effective, right? Crowd is really not a word they're not going to restate. So you're looking for some evidence suggesting that the crowd may be more effective. And we just read it, didn't we, in that first opening paragraph or the second paragraph. Here we see that word. The crowd is really wiser than you. The classic examples are guessing the weight of a bull or the number of gumballs in a jar. And if you contrast that, we know, and I understand you haven't read this whole passage, but this first paragraph really talks about how online reviews are kind of susceptible to irrational behavior, but guessing actual quantifiable values are pretty accurate. And so you can see the distinction here, and we found the evidence there. The crowd may be more effective. Let's look at the choices. Creating controversy, then examining an issue in depth. Again, there's really no evidence of that, right? Creating controversy, reinforcing members' ideas, and then challenging those ideas. Arriving at accurate quantitative answers, then producing valid qualitative judgment. So this is a little bit of vocab. You should recognize that guessing the number of gumballs in a jar of bull's weight. It said in paragraph 2 that the crowd is wiser than you. It's pretty accurate. But then in that opening paragraph, and it listed more evidence throughout the passage, that a large study was done, and online reviews, for example, on Amazon, are really incorrect. They're manipulated. They're susceptible to irrational behavior. And so what does that suggest? Quantitative values are accurate by the crowd. But what is qualitative? Qualitative is something like a review. It's not something where it's an actual number, a value, but it's a ranking. And so even though you won't find the word qualitative, this is a little bit of vocab, but you have to recognize just from those first 2 paragraphs that with reviews, for example, on Amazon, they're susceptible to irrational herd behavior. It can be manipulated, so incorrect. But with the crowd wiser than you, with values, with guessing numbers, they're pretty accurate. And so the point is that quantitative values, the crowd is better than qualitative judgments. And so the answer here is C.